Please call that shook. The NBA. Stephen Curry may be one phone call away from changing the entire ending of LeBron James's career. Not a rumor, not a fantasy trade machine, not another late night NBA debate that disappears by morning. This is different because the moment LeBron James made it clear he was finished with the Los Angeles Lakers, the whole league froze and Golden State did not hesitate. For years, Curry and LeBron stood on opposite sides of basketball history. Finals, battles, Christmas games, playoff wars, two different kingdoms, two different styles, two different faces of the modern NBA. LeBron was power, control, and legacy. Curry was movement, shooting, and revolution. They did not just compete for championships, they competed for the story of the entire era. And now, after all of that, Curry might be trying to turn his greatest rival into his teammate. That is why this story has exploded across the league. Because LeBron leaving the Lakers is already massive. But LeBron leaving the Lakers while Curry and Draymond Green are reportedly ready to recruit him, that is the kind of move that can flip the NBA upside down overnight. Golden State is not just watching from a distance. The Warriors are not sitting back hoping LeBron randomly chooses them. The buzz around the league is that Curry and Draymond are expected to be directly involved in the pitch. And that word matters, directly. This is not a front office whispering through agents. This is not a casual check-in. This is the face of the Warriors, stepping toward the face of a rival dynasty and saying maybe the final chapter should be written together. Think about how wild that is. For nearly a decade, Curry and LeBron defined what it meant to stand in each other's way. The Warriors blocked LeBron from more rings. LeBron delivered one of the greatest comebacks ever against Golden State. They traded pressure, pain, respect, and history. Every time they met, the NBA world stopped. But now the league is asking a question that once sounded impossible. What if the rivalry does not end with one more battle? What if it ends with one last mission? The Warriors' dream is simple but dangerous. Bring LeBron to the Bay, possibly reunite him with Anthony Davis, keep Draymond in the heart of the system, and let Steve Kerr coach the most unbelievable veteran super team basketball has seen in years. On paper, it sounds like a movie. In reality, it is complicated, expensive, risky, and maybe even desperate. But that is exactly why people cannot look away. Because LeBron is not chasing a farewell tour. He is chasing one more real shot. The Lakers could no longer guarantee that. Golden State believes it can. Curry knows his own championship window is shrinking. LeBron knows his time is no longer unlimited. And when two legends feel the clock closing in, they do not think like ordinary players. They think in legacy moves. This is not just about a contract. This is about pride. This is about one final run. This is about whether two men who spent years trying to beat each other can now trust each other enough to win together. And if Curry really makes that call, the NBA may never look at their rivalry the same way again. So now I want to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments. If you think LeBron should join Curry and the Warriors, press 1. If you think this would be a disaster waiting to happen, press 2. And if you love NBA stories like this, make sure you subscribe because this may be the beginning of the craziest chapter of LeBron's career. Why LeBron walked away from Los Angeles. LeBron James did not leave the Lakers because the lights were too bright. He did not leave because the city stopped loving him. He did not leave because the jersey lost meaning. Los Angeles gave him another championship, another historic chapter, and another stage large enough for the weight of his name. But at this point in LeBron's career, love is not enough, history is not enough, applause is not enough. He wants a real chance to win, and that is where the Lakers started to lose him. For years, LeBron carried the burden of keeping Los Angeles relevant, even when the roster was uneven, even when injuries hit, even when the West became deeper and faster. He still found ways to keep the Lakers in the conversation. But after another playoff run ended with the same painful truth, the message became impossible to ignore. The Lakers were not short on effort, they were not short on attention, they were short on talent. That one idea changed everything. Because when LeBron says a team is out-talented, he is not making an excuse. He is giving a diagnosis. He is saying the ceiling is visible. He is saying the front office has to choose between protecting the future and maximizing the present. And once the Lakers started leaning toward the future, LeBron understood exactly what that meant. The franchise could respect him and still move on. That is the cold part of NBA business. The Lakers can honor what LeBron did in purple and gold while also building toward the next era. They can appreciate the 2020 title, the records, the sold-out arenas, the global attention, and still decide that the next version of the team cannot revolve around a superstar in his 40s. LeBron knew it, the Lakers knew it, the league knew it, and once that truth became public, the relationship changed. This was not a messy breakup filled with personal attacks. It was quieter than that, which almost made it heavier. The Lakers offered respect, LeBron offered gratitude, but underneath the polite words was the sound of a chapter closing. 8 years, one title, countless moments, and then suddenly a future that no longer pointed in the same direction. That is why Golden State mattered, because the Warriors are offering what the Lakers no longer could: urgency, not a slow rebuild, not a patient transition, not a let us see what happens season. Curry's window is now. Draymond's sacrifice is now. Steve Kerr's system is now. If LeBron wants one final climb, Golden State is telling him the mountain is still there. And that is the difference. The Lakers were asking LeBron to accept time. The Warriors are asking him to attack it. The Warriors saw the door open. The moment LeBron's Lakers chapter cracked open, Golden State did not blink. That is what separates serious franchises from hopeful ones. Some teams heard the news and started dreaming. The Warriors started calculating. They looked at the market, the money, the relationships, the timing, and the legacy angle, and they saw something that most teams only talk about in private: a real opening. Golden State has chased stars before. That is not new. This organization has never been afraid of the impossible swing. Kevin Durant once walked through that door and turned an already great team into something almost unfair. Since then, the Warriors have kept searching for the next move that could extend Curry's championship life. Some attempts failed. Some conversations never became deals. Some stars chose other paths. But LeBron is different. This is not just another star. This is the one player whose name still bends the entire league. Even now, every LeBron decision becomes a national event. Every hint becomes a headline. Every silence becomes a theory. And Golden State understands that if there is even a small chance to put him next to Curry, they cannot afford to watch from the outside. That is why Curry's role is so important. A general manager can explain numbers. An owner can sell the market. A coach can describe the system. But only Curry can speak to LeBron as an equal from the other side of history. Only Curry can say, "We spent years trying to beat each other. Now let us see what happens if we try to win together." That pitch is not normal. Draymond Green can recruit with emotion. He can talk toughness, culture, defense, sacrifice, and brotherhood. He already has the personal relationship with LeBron. He understands the language of veteran star. But Kendrick Perkins was right about one thing. If this is going to become real, Curry's voice has to be at the center, because Curry validates the dream. If Curry is willing to share the stage, that removes the biggest question. If Curry wants LeBron, the locker room has permission to want LeBron. If Curry believes this can work, the franchise can build around that belief. And if Curry is personally making the call, then LeBron knows this is not a publicity trick. It is a serious invitation. The Warriors are not selling comfort. They are selling pressure. They are selling one last war in the West. They are selling the chance to walk into hostile arenas with two of the most influential players ever wearing the same jersey. They are selling a story so big that even people who hate super teams would have to watch. That is why the league is nervous. Because Golden State did not just see a rumor, Golden State saw a door, and Curry may be the one holding it open, from finals enemies to one last dream. Before anyone can understand why this possibility feels so powerful, they have to remember what Curry and LeBron used to mean to each other. They were not just opponents, they were symbols. LeBron represented the old force of greatness: size, strength, control, and complete command of the game. He could slow the floor down, speed it up, punish mismatches, read defenses before they formed, and turn ordinary teammates into championship pieces. For years, he looked like the final answer to every basketball question. Then Curry changed the question. He did not overpower the league. He stretched it. He pulled defenders 30 feet from the rim. He made shots that used to look irresponsible feel normal. He forced coaches to redesign defenses. He made the three-point line feel like the center of the sport. And suddenly, LeBron's physical empire had a new kind of challenger. That is what made their rivalry special. It was not just Cavs versus Warriors. It was not just Cleveland versus Golden State. It was not just finals ratings and trophy ceremonies. It was two ideas colliding in front of the entire world. LeBron's power against Curry's gravity. LeBron's control against Curry's chaos. LeBron's kingdom against Curry's revolution. 4 straight finals made it historic. Every June felt like the same storm returning. Every possession carried legacy weight. Curry's Warriors won more of those battles, but LeBron's comeback in 2016 became one of the greatest moments the sport has ever seen. That is why their story never belonged to only one side. Curry had the rings, LeBron had the impossible comeback. Both men left scars on the other, but respect grew inside the rivalry. That is the part fans sometimes miss. Great competitors do not always become enemies. Sometimes they become mirrors. They see the discipline, the sacrifice, the pressure, and the obsession in each other. LeBron knew Curry was not a regular shooter. Curry knew LeBron was not a regular superstar. They understood that they were pushing each other into history. Then came Team USA. Suddenly, the two men who had spent years trying to break each other were sharing the same floor, making the same reads, chasing the same gold medal, and it worked. It did not look awkward. It did not look forced. It looked natural. Curry's movement opened lanes. LeBron's passing found him in rhythm. Steve Kerr watched two old rivals become a perfect basketball fit. That moment changed the imagination of the league because fans no longer had to guess what Curry and LeBron might look like together. They had seen it. They had seen the smiles, the passes, the timing, the trust. They had seen the proof of concept. Now Golden State wants to turn that Olympic memory into an NBA reality. And if it happens, the rivalry will not die. It will transform. Draymond's sacrifice and the price of the dream. Every impossible NBA story eventually runs into the same wall. Money? The idea of LeBron James joining Stephen Curry sounds simple when fans talk about it. Just sign him. Just make the call. Just create the super team. But the league does not work on imagination alone. It works on contracts, apron rules, salary slots, exceptions, trade matching, roster minimums, and painful sacrifices. That is why Draymond Green's decision matters so much. On the surface, declining a player option can look like a personal business move, a veteran testing the market, a player trying to secure one more long-term deal. But in this story, it feels bigger than that. Draymond's decision gave Golden State flexibility, and flexibility is the only reason the LeBron dream has oxygen. Without sacrifice, there is no pitch. The Warriors are not sitting on endless cap space. They are not a rebuilding team with empty books and young players waiting to grow. They are expensive, aging, and trying to thread a needle that most front offices would not even attempt. To bring in LeBron, they need numbers to bend without breaking the roster. That is where the mid-level exception enters the conversation. If LeBron accepted a much smaller salary, Golden State could try to squeeze him into a financial slot that would look almost ridiculous next to his career value. We are talking about one of the greatest players ever possibly taking a massive pay cut to chase one final championship beside his greatest rival. That is not normal. But LeBron has never made decisions like an ordinary star. His career has always been about control, legacy, timing, and situation. If the right team gives him the right chance, money may not be the deciding factor. At this point, another ring could mean more than another huge contract. Another finals run could mean more than another maximum salary. Still, asking LeBron to take that kind of cut is dangerous. It has to feel like respect, not desperation. It has to feel like a championship plan, not a discount request. Golden State cannot just say, take less and trust us. They have to show him the roster, the role, the path, and the seriousness of the organization. They have to prove they are not using his name for headline. That is why Draymond's sacrifice becomes symbolic. If Draymond is willing to adjust his own money, that tells LeBron the Warriors are not asking only him to give something up. It says everyone involved understands the cost of one last run. Curry may have to share control. Draymond may have to give up salary. LeBron may have to give up comfort. Kerr may have to redesign the system. That is the price of the dream. And the dream only survives if every legend involved decides the same thing. One more ring is worth the pain. The Anthony Davis fantasy. Then came the part that made the NBA stop and stare. Golden State was not only dreaming about LeBron James, they were dreaming even bigger. Anthony Davis, the idea sounded unreal. Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Draymond Green, and Anthony Davis on the same roster. 4 champions, 4 veteran minds. 4 players who at different moments changed what playoff basketball looked like. For LeBron, the pitch would be powerful. Come to the Bay, reunite with AD, play beside Curry, trust Draymond, let Steve Kerr guide one final mission. Instead of dragging a flawed roster through another brutal season, join a group of legends who already understand pressure, sacrifice, and championship expectations. But the fantasy has problems. A Davis trade would be extremely difficult. Golden State would need salary matching, cooperation from another team, and likely a painful move involving major contract. If the Warriors give up too much depth, they may create a famous team that looks amazing on paper, but struggles to survive the season. That is the danger of chasing names over balance. Still, if it somehow worked, the ceiling would be terrifying. Curry stretching defenses, LeBron controlling tempo, Draymond organizing the defense. Davis protecting the rim. That is not just a roster. That is an entire generation of NBA history trying to win one last ring together. It may be unlikely. It may be complicated. But once serious people start making calls, even the wildest NBA dream becomes dangerous. Why this could actually work. People will laugh at the age first. Curry is not young anymore. LeBron has more mileage than almost any superstar in NBA history. Draymond has been through countless playoff wars. And if Anthony Davis becomes part of the dream, health immediately becomes a major question. But basketball is not only about age, it is about intelligence, timing, spacing, and trust. And that is why Curry and LeBron together could still be frightening. Curry's gravity remains one of the most dangerous weapons in the league. Defenders panic when he moves. One screen, one cut, 1 second of hesitation, and he can destroy a defense. Now imagine LeBron reading the floor while all that chaos is happening around him. That is where the fit becomes scary. If defenders chase Curry, LeBron attacks the lane. If they collapse on LeBron, Curry gets space. If they trap Curry, LeBron becomes the release valve. And few players in basketball history are more dangerous when given numbers, space, and time to make the right pass. Steve Kerr is another reason this could work. He knows Curry better than anyone. He has already coached LeBron with Team USA. He has seen them play together, trust each other, and win together. That removes a lot of the mystery. Golden State would not need LeBron to be 28 again. They would need him to be smart, strong, controlled, and great in the biggest moments. They would need Curry to stay dangerous, Draymond to defend and communicate, and the rest of the roster to support them with shooting and energy. Is it risky? Absolutely. But if they enter the playoffs healthy, this team would have something every opponent fears: experience, shot making, leadership, and two legends who know exactly how to win when the pressure is highest. Why it could fall apart fast. The dream is exciting, but the risk is brutal. A Curry-LeBron Warriors team would dominate headlines, sell tickets, and make every national TV game feel like an event. But attention does not win playoff series. The Western Conference will not slow down just because legends are wearing the same jersey. Young teams would attack them. That is the biggest concern. Can this group defend speed? Can they survive long road trips? Can they handle back-to-backs? Can Curry and LeBron both stay healthy deep into the season? One injury could change everything. Spacing is another issue. Golden State's best teams were built on movement, shooting, quick decisions, and enough defense to cover mistakes. LeBron can fit into that, but only if the offense keeps moving. If the Warriors become too slow, too crowded, or too dependent on older stars taking turns, they could lose the identity that made them special. Then there is the pressure. Curry is the face of the Warriors. LeBron always brings a massive spotlight. Draymond is emotional and vocal. Kerr would have to manage rotations, egos, media attention, and legacy pressure all at once. Every loss would become a debate. Every quiet bench moment would become a theory. Every missed shot would become a headline. That can wear down a team. The NBA has seen veteran super teams look dangerous in the summer and broken by spring. Big names are not enough. You need health, depth, chemistry, defense, and sacrifice. So if Golden State chases LeBron, it cannot be just for the story. It has to be because they truly believe the basketball can survive the spotlight. Cleveland, Miami, or just leverage. Golden State may be the loudest option, but it is not the only one. Cleveland still mattered. That is where LeBron's story began. That is where he became the hometown hero. That is where he delivered the 2016 championship and one of the most emotional moments in NBA history. If LeBron returned to the Cavaliers, it would be a full circle ending. The legend coming home to finish where everything started. But the fit is not simple. Cleveland has its own stars, its own system, and its own timeline. Bringing LeBron back would be emotional, but it would also require adjustment. Miami is another emotional option. Pat Riley, Heat culture, South Beach, and the championships in 2012 and 2013 will always be part of LeBron's legacy. A Miami return would feel cinematic, but the roster and money would be difficult to manage. That is why Golden State feels different. The Warriors offer the most dramatic story. LeBron joining Curry, the rival who helped define his era. Cleveland offers emotion. Miami offers history. Golden State offers mythology. But there is one more possibility. Maybe this is leverage. Maybe Rich Paul is using Golden State's interest to pressure other teams. Maybe Curry's involvement makes every negotiation stronger for LeBron. Maybe the Warriors are serious. But LeBron's camp also knows how powerful this rumor is. In the NBA, both things can be true. A team can truly want a player, and that player can still use the attention to create power. Until LeBron decides, every team is waiting, and Curry's call may be the loudest one he receives. The last dance that could change everything. No matter where LeBron James goes, this story already means something. Legends do not fade quietly anymore. LeBron is not looking for a farewell tour. Curry is not ready to let the Warriors drift into the past. Both men are still chasing something bigger than applause. They want one more chance to bend the NBA before time finally wins. That is why Golden State's pursuit matter. Maybe LeBron joins the Warriors. Maybe he returns to Cleveland. Maybe Miami enters the picture. Maybe the whole thing becomes a leverage play. But the fact that Curry is even involved shows how close this era is to its final chapter. For years, Curry and LeBron were the faces of opposite sides. They battled in finals, they shaped debates, they split fan bases, they pushed each other into history. Now, the most powerful ending may not be one more battle. It may be respect. That is the lesson underneath the drama. Great rivals do not have to hate each other. Competition can create admiration. Two legends can spend years trying to defeat each other and still understand each other better than anyone else can. Strategically, Golden State has to take a big swing if it believes Curry can still chase another ring. Small moves will not change the Warriors' ceiling. LeBron is risky, but he is also one of the few players who can instantly change a franchise's belief. For LeBron, the choice is personal. Cleveland gives him emotion, Miami gives him history, Golden State gives him one of the greatest late career stories basketball has ever seen. There is no perfect answer. There is only the answer that gives him peace with the ending. If Curry and LeBron team up, they should not do it to erase the rivalry. They should do it to honor it. Every finals battle, every painful loss, every impossible shot, all of it would become part of the reason this partnership matters. And if they never play together, fans should still appreciate what they gave the game, because this era is almost over. So now I want to hear from you. If you think LeBron should join Curry for one last championship run, comment 1. If you think he should return to Cleveland, comment 2. If you think this is all leverage, comment 3. And if you love NBA stories, trades, drama, and legacy debates like this, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with another basketball fan. Because if this move happens, we may not just be watching free agency. We may be watching the final chapter of an era rewrite itself.